Thank you so much for jumping on here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Wanted to take a second to thank you all for spending a little bit of time with us today. This is the first in a series that we're going to do called Real Estate Rockstars, and I wanted to take a second to introduce today's guest. This is Brian Barbour. Brian he took our class a few years ago. Last year, did 22 million in real estate on his own. His team's done a lot more than that. He's a great example of what's possible in the real estate industry. Brian, are you there?
Yes, sir.
How you doing?
Turn that on. Good. How you doing?
Oh, I can't.
Long time.
Yes. You are a great example for a lot of people that are on this call. We've got 30 on. Some more should be jumping on here about
awesome.
Just what's possible in the real estate business if you put your mind to it and focus. Now, what I specifically wanted to talk about is what kind of drew you to the real estate industry.
Pretty much how I got my start was I originally was just kind of in a rut, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do in life. I was carpet cleaning, window cleaning, bartending all at the same time. I met my wife at that time, and she is a fashion designer, so she is light years ahead of me. And so I was just trying to figure out kind of what I wanted to do. And my mother-in-law kind of sat me down and said, hey, you know what, you're personable, you're hardworking, let's kind of put you a little bit more to use rather than, hard work, manual labor. And so real estate might be kind of a good gig for you. So started the classes with you, everything went well, passed for my first time. And then a really good family friend of mine was a manager here in Irvine. And so I ended up joining over there, kind of speaking with him, and he said I needed to meet with one of my teammates now, my partner, Colton. And from there, it's just pretty much downhill.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. What I think a lot of people might not fully appreciate is just how competitive the Orange County real estate market is. I mean, did you have any apprehension, or were you frightened at all about getting into real estate in an area like Newport Beach, Irvine, Costa Mesa that is, there's a lot of great a lot of them took my class, frankly, but I mean, there's a lot of really, really strong realtors in Orange County. Was that like a concern for you at all?
A little bit. Pretty much in Orange County and LA, you can throw a rock and hit a realtor. So there's a lot of competition, but I knew that I work harder than most people. And if I put in more hours, and that's the beauty of real estate, is what you put in, you tend to get out. And so if you put in more hours, you put in more work than the next person, typically you're going to be on top. And I knew a lot of people here. So I have a good reputation here. I grew up here. And if I'm just always chatting with someone, always having a new conversation and working hard, then ultimately, it's up to me to decide if I'm going to be successful or not.
Right. Let's talk about hard numbers. I mean, if you did 22 million last year, so I mean that means. And do you mind if I ask how old you are?
31. 31. Just turned 31.
All right, cool. So you are a couple years older than me, but I'm just joking. So I mean, at 31, you're making probably, $300,000 to $400,000 a year, right? That's about what you make. So I mean, my question for you is, you've achieved some level of success. What do you tend to do are you putting a lot of that money back into the business? Are you buying Bugattis? Are you buying, do you have like a very, very lavish lifestyle? Or are you pretty simple?
Very simple. I grew up with not a lot of money, a big family, primarily poor. And for me, there's a lot of agents that will walk the walk and talk the talk, but they'll spend more than they're actually making. And for me, I took a lot of classes and read a lot of books on investing. So I purchased my own home, setting aside so I can do my own flips and investment properties. So pretty much I'm trying to make my money work for me. So anything that I'm bringing in, I'm trying to put it back into the business or to invest so that way I can set up my family for the long run.
Right. A question as it relates to that, and that's how long did it take you from when you got your license to when you did your first deal? Because a lot of folks on this call might be like, man, I don't know how long I can go without making a paycheck. Maybe finish the class and get a license. Can I really hold out a year before making any real money? Was that your experience?
Yeah. So the way that it worked for me was, like I said, I was carpet cleaning, window cleaning, and bartending. So my schedule was, I was in the office at 7, I'd work until 11 a.m. and then I'd go to carpet and window cleaning until 4 and then bartend till midnight and then do it all over again. And in the meantime, when I was in the office, I was just cranking as much as I could. So my first year, I primarily did leases because leases are easy. You can show a couple properties, you can do the paperwork, and it's a quick turnaround versus sales is you got to build up your pipeline, you got to get the buyers, you got to get the sellers, and then it's typically a 30 to 45 day escrow. So those are a longer check. But the way that my team and I are now is we've built this up where when we have people that come onto our team, we automatically have leads available. So when I started, I didn't have a CRM system. I didn't have a lead gen. It was just pretty much just grind, grind, grind. So for me, it took me a year to get my first sale, but primarily I did leases. But we've got a guy that we just signed up 2 weeks ago. He just put in his first cash offer, which he's getting accepted hopefully in the next hour. We had Amanda who was on our team for less than a month. She did 2 transactions. So now we've built the system so that way when you do join a team, then ultimately you're going to start getting those leads converted a lot faster than if you were just kind of jump into it.
Right. Let's talk about that for a quick second. So just 2 things to unpack there. First, it sounds like it took you a full year to do your first sale.
Correct.
But in that meantime, you were carpet cleaning and bartending at night.
Yep.
And that kind of helped keep you going until you really saw some money. Through that year, did you ever feel like quitting, or you're like, man, this sucks. This is like not what I signed up for. This is way too hard. Or did you always know that this is what you wanted to do?
I mean, every day it was tough, but I knew that I had a higher return in real estate because I knew that the checks would be bigger. And for manual labor, it sucked. So it put a lot of stress on my body, and it was hours that I was working for a little amount of money. So I figured that if I were able to put that into real estate and really try to crank as much as I could, then
Right.
ultimately I'll be making more money that way.
Right. So here's another question as it relates to that, because you mentioned the team.
Mhm.
So someone listening to this, because this is going to go on YouTube also, but for somebody that's on this call, and by the way, in about 5 minutes, I'll open it up to Q&A if anybody on the call wants to ask Brian some questions, but I just want to give you guys context. So if somebody's thinking about joining a team, some people might not know what that means. They're like, well, I'm going to work for First Team or Coldwell Banker or Century 21. Isn't that my team? Can you just maybe explain like what a team is and maybe why someone might want as a new agent to join a team rather than, kind of go it all on their own?
Yeah, absolutely. So basically, when you do join a brokerage, Keller Williams, EXP, Berkshire Hathaway, First Team, any of those that's the umbrella company. So within that company, you have single agents or teams. I decided to join a team just because I ended up meeting my partner Colton, and we just kind of clicked right away. But for a team, for me, the reason that I joined is because I came from a big family, so I'm competitive. I did a lot of sports, and that kept me being competitive. And when I joined a team, I didn't have the resources to start my own lead gen, to purchase my own CRM system, do anything like that. So my out of pocket was pretty much nothing. So for me, joining a team was better because it held me accountable. It helped push me to be a little bit better than what I could be on my own. And so that was my best decision for me. Some people love to be single agent. Some people have the funds and resources that they're able to just kind of do their own thing, and people thrive on that. For me, I like to be competitive. I hate being number 2. And so for me, I always push myself to be better because I'm competing with myself and everybody else. But we hold each other accountable. We talk about each other's goals all the time. And it's about accountability for me.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you who might just be getting into our business, or if you're just starting with the classes, real estate can be a very lonely business. It's if you're a single agent and you're kind of on your own, if you don't have a good broker or you don't have even just friends in the office. By the way, especially for COVID, I mean, that human interaction is extremely, extremely important. I think having a team, particularly as a new agent, can kind of help get you, in a sense of camaraderie and friendship and accountability, as you rightly said. So, but to be clear, I might have missed that, but did you start on a team or did you start as a single agent?
So when I joined, Colton was previously in Vegas and then decided to come expand into California. The reason being is that our average sales price is almost 800,000 and theirs was 150,000. So it made more sense for them to be here. They didn't have as many funds or resources when they got started, but when he was in Vegas, he was top 30 under 30. And I knew that ultimately,
I'm sorry, just talk about what 30 under 30 is, because people might not know what that means.
Yeah, absolutely. So within the country, he's one of the top 30 agents that are under 30 years old.
Mm.
And so that's when I decided to join, and knew that if he's already been at the top, we're only going to get better and go back to the top again. It's actually kind of a funny story, but I found out that when I joined the team, he actually was childhood friends with my wife,
Oh, okay.
and they lost connection for like 10 years. And I
Really?
started working for him, and then we all put it back together. So
That's funny.
um, yeah, small world.
Yeah. Right. So, I mean, would you recommend that for, I mean, because some of these people that are on this call, like we have like 50
Mhm,
on here now, but some of these folks might not be like local to you in Orange County. Let's say
mhm.
somebody's watching this and as a new agent, would you recommend that a new agent start on a team, or would you recommend that they try it on their own for a while? I mean, what would be your advice to someone that might be
Yeah.
debating what to do?
Yeah, it's to each his own. Interview as many people as you can. You don't have to just interview one and then just go with them. I interviewed, even though I knew I was going to go with Colton and his team, I still interviewed multiple people, multiple brokerages, and just try to figure out who I really flowed with and what worked best for me. So personally, for me, I've always been a team player. I've always been competitive, but it just depends on that person if they want to try out the single life, and that's cool. Absolutely, it is tough. It's very tough, but it's not impossible. So I always recommend just talk to as many people as you can.
Yeah. What would be some characteristics that you think, we only have about 4 more minutes, then I'm going to open it up to
Hmm.
Q&A for you, but what do you think are some characteristics that, uh, that make a successful agent? I mean, you're obviously making, mid six figures. You'll probably, if you keep up on this track, I can easily see you making $1 million or more in the next 3 to 5 years. So my question to you is,
Hmm.
what are some traits that maybe you have or you've seen in other people that you think, man, a good real estate agent has to have this and shouldn't have that? If you could maybe help people kind of develop certain skills within themselves.
Absolutely. Passion, passion to learn. That's my biggest thing. That's when it really clicked for me. One of my biggest things is that I try to wake up a student, go to bed a teacher. I'm always trying to learn more. I'm always trying to be coachable. So as long as you're able to pretty much hold yourself accountable, be coachable, willing to learn, get rid of the ego, that's going to get you a lot further in life in real estate. And just being honestly nice to people. There's a lot of jerks and assholes out there in real estate, and you tend to remember who they are, and you don't want to work with them. So we built a really good reputation with everybody. And so there's times that we're not the highest offer, but they know who we are, so they want to work with us.
Yeah.
So that's my biggest thing is just be accountable, personable, and just work hard. So like my team and I, 8 to 11, 8 a.m. we're in the office. We do role play for an hour. We go over each other's goals and everything. 9 to 11, we start doing our phone calls, work on escrows. 11 to 12, that's our hot list. And then from there on, we're in showings.
Mhm.
And so we have a very strict schedule, and that's how we keep it, is because we run it as a business. And real estate, you really can, if you want to, you can just work from home in your sweats and just kind of do your thing, but then you realize that you're wasting a lot of time.
Right.
So we try to run it as a business and be as diligent with our time as much as possible.
So to be clear then, if somebody says, hey, I want to work with Brian, but I want to do my own thing. I want to maybe work from like, I like sleeping in. So I like starting my day at
Mhm,
about 10:30 or 11. I want to
mhm.
work into the evening. Is that like not a fit for you guys then? Do you
Yeah,
want?
it's not a fit for us. We're really big on, we've built a family here. So kind of what we've done now is we've gotten a couple partnerships. We've got a partnership with Zillow, Realtor.com, OpCity, Ojo, Veterans United. We just obtained these within the past month here. And so we are getting 300 to 500 leads that are hot a month. And so we are actively trying to bring more people onto our team. But with a lot of these contracts and partnerships that we do have, it's pretty much all or nothing. So if you start to drop the ball and you're not starting to follow up with the clients, then they will shut us off from those leads, and ultimately they'd be revoked from us. So we make it as simple as possible. These are the hours you're in, hours to get out. It's not a fit.
Sorry, Brian.
So when
Hey,
we,
buddy, just so you know, the last like maybe like 10 seconds cut out. I don't know if you're getting a call or what, but
yeah,
it
I just
broke
got a
up.
call, so I just exit out of it. So if you're not a fit, then you're not a fit, and we'll let you know. We do a 90-day mentorship program. where you'd be working directly under me. We give you 90 days to pretty much figure out if you're going to be a fit with us. I mentor you, make sure that you're a good fit. And from there, then we turn you on to leads, and you're going to be fed as much as possible until you say, stop, I can't take any more leads.
So, Brian, just before I open it up, because I know we're bumping up on time, we're at 12:15. Talk a little bit about maybe the opportunity with these third-party vendors like Zillow and such that you have, just so people are clear in terms of like what they're asking, you know, like what are they signing up for? So just to be clear of what the Zillow partnership actually is.
Yep, absolutely. So previously on Zillow, you'd see premier agents. Basically, those are the guys that are like the top three on the right-hand side when you look at a property. You used to be able to, and you still can, you can pay for leads to be a premier agent, and you're guaranteed X amount of contacts a month. In the past year, they've slowly been keeping track of who has the best conversion rate, who has the best customer satisfaction score. And then basically what they've said is, you know what, we're going to turn off from people paying for leads. And then we're just going to take the top teams and do a referral-based program. So now our out-of-pocket is nothing until we close that client. So there's two types of partnerships. There's local and growth. Local is pretty much you stay where you're at, Orange County, you do your thing, they just feed you a bunch of leads, you refer them once you close them. We got the growth. So now with our team, the minute we say, hey, look, we're going to go open up in Texas, we tell Zillow, hey, we're going to open up in Texas, we put an agent there, automatically they're starting to get leads. So it's a huge, huge growth opportunity for us. And so pretty much we're trying to expand as quickly and as possible, so that way we can be number one in the country.
Okay, so so folks understand, if they decide to reach out to you, and which I know I'm seeing some chats about people wanting contact info, which of course we'll share that.
Absolutely.
But so your goal is to be the number one team in the country. So
Absolutely.
anybody signing up to maybe work with you guys has to understand, hey, you know, you're coming to a very competitive, potentially high stress environment, very fast paced, 6 to 7 days a week. How many hours a week are you working right now, do you think?
Just over this past weekend on Saturday, I was 7 to 7 in showings. And then yesterday I was 11 to 7. I drove 375 miles, but I wrote up $3 million worth of contracts. So roughly that's $60,000 right there. And they got accepted right before this phone call.
Yeah. So I'm going to open it up just because I want to respect everyone's time and end this at 12:30. So if anybody has any questions, just feel free to unmute yourself. I will share Brian's contact information. We are going to be ending right at 12:30. So just bear that in mind. But if anybody wants to ask Brian any questions, please go ahead.